Hello and welcome back to another edition of Standouts and Fizzouts. That's right, everybody's got their own version of winners and losers, you know, risers and toppers, or risers and fallers, whatever. But ours is Standout and Fizzouts because soda or pop, whichever you choose, it doesn't matter. But we love pop, soda, whatever you want to call it. Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Sprite. Squirt's pretty good too. That's not bad, I'm not gonna lie to you. Also, pretty much any great value brand, I don't care out there. I think pop is so good, it needs to replace water. And today we're bringing you our latest edition of Standouts and Fizzouts, where we talk about, you know, our own version of risers and fallers, or winners and losers, again, whatever have you. You know, talking about the Las Vegas Raiders preseason game versus the New England Patriots. So a lot going on in this game. I gotta be honest, I think there was a lot of Raiders and Patriots, for that matter, that made the roster based off this game. So we'll jump right into it, talking about the game last night. We're sorry we're getting a little bit late to it. Me and the wife spent the entire day together, which was fantastic. So it was a little bit needed R&R, so it's good to be back here, although I have to say. So you have to start out by talking about the Patriots. Bailey Zappi, to me, he's a lot of fun. I got to be real with you. He is so much fun. I think he's a guy that, truthfully, I think there should be a lot of NFL teams that are taking a serious look at Zappi. I feel like he really showed a lot this offseason. Now, were there a couple of ugly throws? Yes, but I would argue there were equally as many throws that make you take a second look. He went 10 of 14 for 84 yards and 1 pick against the Raiders. Mack Jones in there. Saw some good things from Mack Jones. Also saw some things where I'm like, I would have expected a little bit more, but overall he finished 9 of 13 for 71 yards. And then Brian Hoyer, the very reliable backup, went 6 of 7 for 47 yards. So overall, I felt this was a very good showing by all the backup quarterbacks. Now, would you like to have seen Bailey Zappi take a little bit, and Mack Jones for that matter, take a little bit better care of the football? Yes, but overall, at the end of the day, it is preseason. You know, it's time. You know, I don't think Tyquan Thornton was playing. So I think at the end of the day, some of this has to be taken with a grain of salt, but for these younger guys, this is a do or die, and there's no way we can debate that. So then we go to the running game. Kevin Harris and Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah, they got some special guys in that backfield. Ramondre Stevenson is one of those guys. Fantasy, I would say, at least Ramondre Stevenson, probably in like, what, for the 6th, 7th round, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I had him on my fantasy team last year, and he absolutely balled out. So, you know, Kevin Harris, 4 carries, 54 yards. Ramondre Stevenson, 5 carries, 22 yards. Mack Jones also had himself a nice scramble, 1 carry for 13 yards. Pierre Strong Jr., the former South Dakota State standout. I was expecting him to get a little bit more carries this time around, but it is what it is. So on the receiving end of it, Josh Hammond led the team with 4 catches for 33 yards. Trey Nixon also had 2 catches for 32 yards. You know, little Jordan Humphrey, 2 catches, 7 yards. I think he's made the roster. I've been really impressed with him. Also, Kendrick Bourne, a guy I think you really need to keep an eye on. I'm excited for him. On the defensive side of the football for the Patriots, you had Marcus Jones. What was it, the 3rd round pick or 4th round pick? I can't remember. Led the team with 7 tackles. He's electric in returning the football. I don't care what anybody says. And then you also saw Daniel Ukale. That was bad. Anyway, I believe he was the one that bowled over Alex Leatherwood. Ooh, that was ugly. Or at least he got past Alex Leatherwood. But I mean, Alex Leatherwood got completely demolished. Definitely a fizz out. I know he's a 1st round pick and everything, but man, I'm not surprised if he's going to be on the trading block for a while, because it's just, it's not pretty. It wasn't pretty. I got to be honest with you. So then Anfernee Jennings also had a sack. That was, I believe, on Bamidele Olaseni. Got him in an inside move. I'm one to admit when I'm wrong. Bamidele Olaseni didn't look good. I got to be real with you. I think he allowed a sack. He allowed a couple pressures, a couple quarterback hits. Like I said, I'm very optimistic, but at the same time, I'll admit when I'm wrong that you know, he's got some work to do as the Raiders decide what they want to do with him moving forward. So, you know, I got to be honest with you, overall, moving forward, their offensive line is going to probably be the biggest question for the Raiders, but overall, this was, I saw some good things, but there were some definitely red flags as well. Then, like we kind of touched on, you know, the rest defensively, the Patriots, you know, there were some things left to be liked, excuse me. Pierre Strong Jr. With the lone kickoff return for the Patriots. Marcus Jones, like I said, two punt returns, 32 yards. He's going to be electric. Marcus Jones is going to be absolutely awesome. The veteran Nick Folk getting it done as well for the Patriots. So, like I said, there's a lot left to be liked for the Patriots. You know, as far as making the roster, I don't care what anybody says. I feel like Bailey Zappi has earned himself a spot. I don't care. He has been sharp in a lot of ways. Now, that one interception, who was it? To Huber or whatever, Zuber, excuse me. I think it. I believe it was. I think it was Zuber. But at the same time, you get the whole, you know, rookie young guy coming in trying to make an impression. So, but Bailey Zappi showed a lot. I think he definitely earned his spot. So we bounce over to the Raiders side of things. Listen, Chase Garbers, I got to be real. I think he's going to be something good. Now, is it mainly going to be as a backup quarterback in the NFL? It's possible. I mean, Jarrett Stidham played himself a very solid game as well, went 4 of 6 for 72 yards. Chase Garbers, 12 of 22 for 141 yards. We'll get to the running backs in a second because also Chase Garbers has some wheels, by the way. He left Tyron Johnson wide open. Like, he had him on that deep shot. Now, don't get me wrong. Tyron Johnson had that catch for 45 yards. I'll extend the olive branch. But at the same time, I would have liked to seen him lay it out a little bit more, and I think that's been kind of a big knock on a guy like Garbers is the arm strength. I don't know that he's got the arm strength to make it as a full-time starter in the NFL, but I do think there's some things to work with. We have seen a lot better quarterbacks with a lack of arm strength. Teddy Bridgewater, in my mind, is another quarterback that comes to my mind, or at least a lack of control. You know, there's tons of other quarterbacks in the NFL that just, you know, Drew Brees late in his career. I mean, that's obviously a running joke, but there's just a little bit of questions for me in terms of what Chase Garbers can do in pushing the football down the field. But like I said, I thought he had a solid game. I think he has really proven that he's at least worth a practice squad spot for the Raiders. Clearly, I think he's going to be that third quarterback and that practice squad guy that is going to learn a lot this year, and we'll see what we have in him next year. Running the football, listen, Britton Brown, Austin Walter, Zamir White, like, could all be number one running backs for any NFL team. Like, Britton Brown is a stud, just an absolute stud. 11 carries, 28 yards, had that pitch out, that basically a walk-in touchdown as well. Zamir White, he's a stud, man. Zeus is the absolute man. These two guys, three guys, mind you. I think, like I've mentioned, the Raiders have literally 5 or 6 running backs, I know, short of Kenyon Drake, who got traded. But overall, they have 5 running backs that could start for anybody. So it's never a bad thing to have the running back by committee thing going for you. But Britton Brown, he belongs in the NFL. There's no question in my mind. In terms of receiving the football, Keelan Cole, he had 3 catches for 48 yards, really separated himself. I feel like if I had to say it right now, I would give the wide receiver through role to Tyron Johnson, but I gotta be honest with you. You know, at the same time, Keelan Cole has earned some snaps in that regard. So there's a lot I liked. Even DJ Turner, in my mind, who's has earned a spot on this roster as well. There's a lot to be liked by all these wide receivers. But at the same time, you know, Johnson, Cole, you know, Turner, those 3 I think are at least going to be that 3-4-5 mix. You know, after that, you know, it's pretty much a toss-up. I like what I saw from Dylan Stoner. You know, by the way, the tight end Hesper Horsted, excuse me, 2 catches, 35 yards. He also showed some stuff. Cole Fotheringham also added a catch for 20 yards. Now to the defensive side of the football. Oh, man, there was a lot I took away from this. So Amik Robertson leading the way for the Raiders with 6 tackles. To Sean Bauer, I'm going to put my Coke can down just for a second because this is important. He has earned a spot as a dynamic pass rusher for this team. The Raiders will have 4, count them, 4, 1, uno, dos, cuatro, pass rushers. You've got Tashawn Bauer, who I believe, you know, had 2 sacks against the Patriots that really showed me a lot throughout the entire offseason, by the way. You also had Zach Van Valkenburg, who also had a sack. He's not the number 1, but he just stood out as well. But so you've got Tashawn Bauer, you've got Max Crosby, you've got Chandler Jones, and you've got Malcolm Koonce. I think you are 4 deep at edge rusher that I don't care who gets most of the run here. It needs to be a mixture of those guys. Like, those guys need to be in and out. Now, again, you want Crosby and Jones to be your main guys. I understand it. I agree. But Tashawn Bauer and Malcolm Koonce deserve a shot because they really showed me a lot this entire preseason, and they deserve a lot of credit. So yeah, as far as the edge rushers for the Raiders, they are stacked. They are edge rusher ain't a problem. Whatever it was, what does Bill Burr said? Whatever a problem over here ain't a problem anymore. Bill Burr's the best, by the way. Dave Chappelle beats him. But anyway, the point is, we'll debate about comedians later. But overall, you really have to be excited about what you've seen from edge rushers from the Raiders. There's just a lot left to be liked there. So, I mean, there's a lot to like there, excuse me. Sam Webb. I got to tell you, Sam Webb has been balling out. Made that deep long play on, I can't remember who the receiver was, but made that play on the long ball there. And the thing about Sam Webb is they might catch a pass on him, but he is immediately going to get that ball carrier down, and that is exactly what was huge. Even in that when the Patriots were driving down in the red zone late in the game there, so that was absolutely integral. Also, Luke Masterson coming away with a pick. You love to see it. Did he do enough to make the roster? Raiders have injuries at linebacker. I get it. I would say it's a maybe. It's definitely a maybe, but Darian Butler to me has been flying around. He had 7 tackles the other night. So overall, there's a lot to like here from the Raiders. I got to be, so now let's get over to the Fizz Outs. Obviously, like we mentioned, Bamidele Olusini did not play well. I'm expecting him to be more of a practice squad guy. There's a lot there's a lot to work with there, but I've got to see more before I'm going to be even a backup type role that I want to see for him. I need to see more out of him because, I mean, it was tough. Jennings had him on skates all night, whether it was an inside move or on the outside. It wasn't pretty. So it needs to loosen up the hips, get better with the hands. He was getting beat on the speed on the inside. It didn't matter. It was just not pretty for Bamidele Olusini. Now, Alex Leatherwood as well did not look good. That entire, second and third team offensive line. I don't know. That's my biggest question for, it's my biggest question for the Raiders. This offense, I've said it from the beginning, it doesn't need to be an amazing offensive line. It just needs to give Derek Carr a couple of seconds and let him get the ball to Adams, Devontae Adams or Hunter Renfrow. Please, just find a way just to block fat long enough for that. Now, Dylan Parham, in my mind, has shown a lot. We'll see if he makes the roster. But overall, I think that there is a lot left to be liked about this second and third team offensive line for the Raiders. Now, there were some guys that I did like, but overall, it's not looking good. You do, if one of your tackles goes down, you do have some questions. I have to be honest with you, Jermaine Illuminar has stepped up at right tackle, but other than that, man, oh man, I have my questions about the offensive line. I call it like I see it. Isaiah Huber, by the way, had himself a catch and an interception. I love it. And and as far as another fizz out, by the way, I was expecting more from Matthew Butler. Now, there were some times he had great hand usage and was able to get pressure on the quarterback, but overall, there's too many times he was stopped in one place, not getting after it. Tyler Lancaster, I felt I've seen more from him to be able to, make a case for that roster spot. Same thing goes for Kendall Vickers. I've even seen enough from Neil Farrell Jr. It just has not been a pretty preseason for Matthew Butler. I was expecting a little bit more out of the former Volunteer, but that's pretty much all we got for the standouts and fizzouts for the Raiders versus the New England Patriots. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Who did we miss? Who stood out? Who fizzed out? Coke! That's right. We're not sponsored yet, but maybe we will be someday. It doesn't matter, but pop. Okay, sorry, soda. Whatever it is you guys like, make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. Down in the description below, you'll find all of our social media platforms. Give us a like there. Also, remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put in the comment section down below and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about our standouts and fizzouts, pop or soda, for the Las Vegas Raiders versus New England Patriots preseason game.